Yeah, okay. Well, it's interesting because the picture that you had up at the introduction of me was the picture taken by the BBC when I was the presenter of a documentary back in 2015 called Climate Change by Numbers. And that was a very revealing experience from the perspective of understanding this other agenda that a lot of academics have. Because what I discovered from that program was a pure propaganda piece by the BBC. It was a straight climate change hysteria piece, very, very alarmist, and you weren't allowed to question it, as I actually tried to do, but none of my proposed edits made it into the final cut. But what was interesting is I discovered during the making of that documentary that many of the leading climate scientists, the academics, were in that, not just because they were being funded to do it. So it's partly the things you said there, that's where the funding was to promote the climate change alarmists. But these were people who had a political agenda. These were essentially political activists. They were political activists, in my view, above being academics. So, for example, when I questioned one of the lines that I had to say in that program, it was all scripted by consultants who were supposedly the expert academics. And there was one particular claim that I had to make, and which was screened, which I was very uncomfortable about. And I asked the academic, it was a senior professor, before the program went out, whether that really was true, because I thought it just didn't seem right. And he said, no, it's it's absolutely fine. It's completely fine. There's no problem about saying that. Well, after the program went out, it was pointed out to me that that particular academic had quite recently written a paper where it was very clear that he was saying himself that that statement that I was asked to say couldn't possibly be true. So I got on the phone to this guy after the program went out and said, look, you said to me that that was okay to say that, but I can see from your own recent research paper here that it isn't. And he said, well, we all have to lie for the greater good. That gets to the heart of what a lot of these academics are about. And what I discovered is that the whole manipulation of overly complex and ludicrous models, bad use of statistics, is just as evident in the climate change field as it was in COVID. And in many cases, you've got very, very similar people behind it as well. So they're very much into this globalist idea, the need for one world government, the technocracy. They need these experts to be in charge, in control of things, because these are the only people who really understand what needs to be done. And that is what permeates the entire academia. Academia is not what many people think it to be. And it's dominated by these cliques who have these very, very strong left-leaning political agendas.